along, I've actually learned a lot with that. Learned a lot. So, but then I believe one day we're all going to be engraced to,
Um,
well, if not
Miss,
all, at least
let's get to
us
it.
all
Let's get to it.
be. Yeah, yeah. I just want to do a brief introduction. So yeah, so that'll be all for now, right? Okay, so let's just kickstart. I'm going to share my screen, and please let me know if you can see it. Discord is a bit can be a bit annoying sometimes when it comes to sharing screens. Okay, so I'm sharing now. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Kick off. All right, please tell me. Can you see my screen? Can anyone see my screen? Please tell me.
I can see your screen.
And I believe not everybody can see my screen, but fine. So today we're supposed to talk about I think introduction to backend, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about actually document, but it's something to get us started. So we're going to learn more about backend, as we progress. Yeah. But for today, we'll look at the introductory part of it. Okay, guys. So I want you all to be free to ask questions, right? So I want this session to be at least interactive. So it's an introductory class. So if you have any question, this is where we can get to know each other. Before we start the real deal. Okay, so yeah, just in case you're just coming in, I said this class is basically introductory class, right? So I'm going to be introducing you to backend. So I'll just start right away. So in this document, be able to you will be introduced, rather, sorry, you'll be introduced to backend, right? And how it works and the technologies involved, and also the role as a backend developer. So let's start with what is backend for. Well, it's not actually a thing. It's not a thing. It's just basically saying the server side. So when you hear backend anywhere, don't think it's actually something big, or don't think it's a person. It's not a person. It's just the server side of any application, or maybe any system. Well, it could be website backend. It could be an application backend. In fact, it could even be like a software, like a system software backend, for instance, desktop application backend. Okay, so technically, um, backend in the simplest term is the behind the scene part of a system, right? So whether it's a mobile application, desktop application, or a website, right? So therefore, we can say backend web development or backend development is the server-side development of a given application, provided the need for data exchange across servers. So it's basically okay. So for instance, let's talk about websites, right? So we'll have a front end and also have a back end. So that's it. You have a front end and you have a back end. So forgive me, please. So the front end requests for data, right? And the back end, it's requested from the back end, and the back end delivers it. It's going to like well, it has a port listening for, and it has endpoints listening for a request coming in. So as a front end or as a client, when you hit a certain okay, so let me just give an instance here. So let's type facebook.com, for instance. So right here, the browser, of course, is going to make a request to facebook.com, and facebook.com is going to request, it's going to respond, that's the server is going to respond with a file. Of course, this HTML file we're seeing on the screen. So the browser makes a request to the given URL you pass to it, and then the server, the Facebook server, is going to respond with a file, this HTML file that you're seeing here. So this is just a basic instance of how backend can interact with front end. Of course, You can also type something here. Of course, you can fill in this form and then enter your email, your password, try to log in. You know what's going to happen then. So Facebook is going to look, Facebook as the front end, for instance, the front end is going to send a request to the back end, searching for this user information there, given that the user has signed in, has created an account with them before, right? So if a user has not created an account with Facebook, of course they won't be able to find the information in their record. That the database, the backend is going to search through their database and see if this user information is there. If the user information is saved there, then it's going to respond
think they can see
with
your
such
screen.
information. Well, I'm sharing already.
I
Please
don't
let me
think
know
you
if you can see my screen. Okay, let me do. Can you see
So
this?
guys, remember, if you're having any challenge, always drop it in the room. Elijah, I don't think anyone can see your screen.
It's sharing. Okay, I just have to share them. Stop screaming. Share again. Can I share the browser? Please tell me if you can see my screen. Anybody?
Yeah, it's showing now.
We can see you.
Okay, this code is somewhat annoying. All right, so yeah, we're still talking about what the backend is. So backend is backend is actually a server side part of a given maybe application or software or program or something. This server side. If you hear backend, then we're just there. Okay, so let's see how the backend works here. So this was what I explained earlier. So we have a browser here, and then it's going to make a request to a web server. And then, for instance, if the browser is sending a user information to the web server, for instance, let's say a user tried to sign up on your website or on facebook.com, for instance. So Facebook from the browser is going to send the data that was collected from the user. Is going to send it to the web server of Facebook, and then the Facebook server is going to send that data to the database. Let's assume this web server is the API, the backend API. So it's going to just take the information, process it. It's going to try to validate it if it's actually what they're expecting before it saves the data. So if it's something that they're expecting, if it's a valid data, then it's going to send it to the database and save it there. Afterward, it's going to reply to the browser that it has saved this information successfully. So the browser knows to then take the user to let's say a sign-in page that if they sign up, it's going to take them to a sign-in page where they can use the same credentials that was provided to log in. All right. So let's read about this a bit. So most of the things we enjoy today through technology are all possible with the help of the backend. For instance, social media. So let's say you go to Instagram, you create a post, right? When you create a post, you come back to your homepage or where they can save this information. If you create a post, it's just going to be flying in the air. It won't be saved anywhere. Okay, and when you create a post, others can be able to see that post, right? So basically, all the things you see on Instagram was created by some people, you, me, someone else, right? And that information is being saved somewhere. That's why you are able to see it after they created that post, a persistent database. So when you save the information or when you create the post, the database saves it. So anytime you request for it, can always provide you with it. So that's a backend for you. Backend is actually it's there for you to send data to it and it saves it to the database so that you can make other changes to it. You can decide to request further information that you saved. You can decide to update the information. You can even decide to delete the information. Okay, so yes, it says from creating a social media post to updating, deleting, and of course, being able to see these changes after a successful response from the server. So let's say you enter your profile on maybe Facebook or Discord, for instance, Discord. You go to your profile, you try to like maybe update your about me section. So if you update the about me section, Discord is basically going to take it to the server, and the server is going to save it in database. And then if you let's say you close Discord and you come back to Discord, you're still going to see the changes you made. You're still going to see it there. You update, come back to it again, you're able to see that information. It's because there is a persistent database somewhere that is saving that information. That's what the backend does for you. Saves you. Let's see. So for you trying to become a web developer or backend developer or something, so these are the things you're going to need. So skills needed to become a backend developer. Well, I've been talking for a while now. Please tell me, do you have any question? I'll be much more obliged to answer your questions, please. If you have any question, throw them at me, please. There's something you don't understand. There's something you want me to like elaborate. Please let me know. All right. In the absence of any, let's continue. So, skills needed to become a backend developer. Well, of course, you must be able to know how to create a server, know how to use a database, regardless of the type. Maybe it's a NoSQL database or an SQL database. Okay. Likewise, a programming language. Of course, you need one and stuff. You can't just call yourself a backend developer when you can't create all these things and you can't use any backend tools. Okay, so there are some technologies involved, of course. So, for instance, we have for the language, quite a lot of them. There's a few here. So we have PHP. You can use PHP. It's a backend language. You can use Python. It will work for you. You can use Node.js. You can use Java. You can use Ruby. And these languages, they have frameworks that are going to make your life easier as you progress, right? So I know a few of them, but two are going to be using Node.js in this our tutorial.
Hey, you owe me something.
Forgive me, guys. Sorry. I came from somewhere. All right. So you can use these languages, right? You can use Ruby, you can use Java, you can use Node.js, you can use Python, you can use PHP. Okay, so also database. Of course, you can use myself. We have PostgreSQL, we have MongoDB, we have CockroachDB. This one is funny, CockroachDB. So I have a link to it here. Let me just open it. CockroachDB. Well, quite funny the name. So CockroachDB is also an SQL database. So this database saves information in tables and rows, in form of tables and rows. Likewise, we have MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database. So it saves information in an object format, like a document format. You get to understand all these things later in NESA bootcamp. So it continues. All right. So we have the responsibilities of a backend developer. Okay. Please ask a question if you have one, please. Let me give the room for that. Any question? Okay. Okay. I'm guessing we're all fine. Okay, so we have responsibilities of a backend development, integration, and management. Okay, so this database, it's something I've actually talked about it before, but I'm going to talk about it again. So you must be able to create a database. You must be able to like save some information in that data. You must be able to model a database in a way that it suits whichever application you're trying to build, or maybe the idea you're trying to bring alive. For instance, if you want to maybe let's say you want to start an e-commerce website, you must be able to structure and model your database in a way that is going to suit that particular stuff you want. You can framework to build server-side software. So you must know how to use, for instance, we have Express. It's very popular among Node.js developers. Yeah, it's very popular. So you must know how to use that. So there are some requirements. First, you as a backend developer, you must know these things, right? So because if you want to apply for a job, you are surely going to see your responsibilities there. And if you can't carry out your responsibilities, of course, what is the use of a backend developer can create a database for? Okay, so you must know how to use your tools very well. You must know how to use your backend framework. You must know how to use working with APIs, third-party APIs, SDKs. You must know how to use those things. So also, you must understand web server technologies that are used to create web servers. You must know them too, right? Cloud computing also. So for instance, we have, I think it's one of the easiest to work with, if not. We have we have Cloudflare, we have, so for computing, we have uh, DigitalOcean, because you know of, you must have heard of AWS, right? It's quite complex, but not too complex. You have Azure, so we have lots of them. Okay. So also you must be able to create reusable components. For instance, so you must be able to create reusable codes. Of course, it's going to benefit you as you progress in your job or your role. You must be able to create reusable codes that you can use, maybe for multiple projects, right? Also ensuring data integrity. If you're saving data inside of a database, you must be able to validate that data, ensure its safety. Okay, so I think we have some things here. Okay, so this is just about MongoDB. Okay, I don't think we should talk about this here, but it's actually a database. We've seen it up here before. So MongoDB, how to work with it, how to create, how to use it to model your database, how to set up things, the security also. Yes, I mean, who can access data different accounts on that database in permissions, right? And restrict them to some things that you don't want them to do, like the rest of your team member, given that maybe you're the team lead or something. Okay. All right, guys. So that's enough talking here for now. So please, do you have any questions? Any question at all? Let me check back on you guys. So we have quite a number here. So we'll move with some questions. Okay. All right. So this class is basically just to give you the idea of what is to come. Okay. So these technologies that I've mentioned here, well, hearing their name, you might think maybe they are simple as you might think they are. Okay. Well, for instance, Node.js, since I'm going to be using Node.js, it's going to be very easy for us to just, quickly pick up. If you've, maybe if you've done front end before, right? I don't know if there's anybody here that hasn't done anything like front end Node.js, front end JavaScript, for instance, maybe build maybe a simple calculator with JavaScript. If you've done that before, actually, when I started programming, I did all those things, front end before moving to back end. So that's where things became easier for me. But if you have no idea of JavaScript before, well, we are going to start from the very beginning. So I'm going to introduce you to data types, introduce you to control flows and the likes. So it's not going to be as difficult as you might think. Then uh, please don't think that what I've said here today is don't get it wrong. They're actually simple things. They are not as difficult as you may think. Backend, well, it's actually a very interesting part of web development, if you can call it like that. But backend stretches far beyond just websites or stuff. Because I told you before, you can create a backend for applications, mobile applications, desktop applications, right? Okay. So yeah, I'm going to give room for let's see who's on the call. My boss, if he has something to contribute. Okay, Mr. Marvelous is not here. And Moses, do you have anything to say, please? Oh, is Moses here? I doubt if he's here. Okay. Anyways, let me move to the next. Let's see what we can do again. So let me just explain some stuff
Elijah?
here on yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
so
actually caught on to please continue.
you've covered your slide, right?
Sorry.
I said I see you've covered your presentation, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I just if there's still time, I can just give them a brief intro on JavaScript before our next class.
Yeah, that is what I would advise you just do.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So this document here, it's going to explain a little about JavaScript, and so we'll be starting from the very beginning. So what I have, I have variables, which is like the, the very beginning of let's say programming variables, data types. Yeah. Okay. So let's just start. So JavaScript is a scripting or programming language. Forgive me, please. Okay, that allows you to add complex functionalities or interactions to web pages. Okay, so this is going to actually take us to front end a bit. All right, so I'm going to open a link here. Right, let me just open this. Well, it's actually not a very big something. It's just designed for the explanation of this tutorial to demonstrate how it works. Okay, so for instance here, so we have we have a page here. Okay, so and also we have but this is more like an e-commerce website, a website where they sell foods. Yeah. Okay, so if you visit a location, I think I clicked one of these guys up here. So I clicked Moshood. Moshood. Okay, and then you can see we have some foods here. I think this is jollof rice, white rice, beans, blah 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 blah. So you don't want to. Well, I don't expect you to think that all these things are just being hard coded on the front end. No. So these foods, all this information coming here, the various foods you're seeing here, they're all coming from somewhere, right? They must be saved somewhere, right? In order for them to show up here. They are not just stuff that are hard coded on the website. They're all coming from a database. So in this website, there must be an admin area that they can be able to like upload foods, products, or yeah, foods, since it's food they sell here. Okay. So that's actually a backend. There must be a backend somewhere, a server, a database somewhere that is saving these informations, right? And again, I think they have this way they use. Okay, so I think this is taking forever to import. See, great. Okay, so I think we have a form here. So you can just basically sign up. And okay, we're going to use. Oh, it's even checking for. It's trying to validate the email address. So all these things are being done with JavaScript, right? So when you type something, it tries to validate this stuff. Okay, so number is incorrect. It's able to detect that your number is not correct. Right, that's pretty much JavaScript in action. Okay, so let's try to. Oh yeah, good. So now I can click submit now, and have my data saved. Yeah, so I've successfully registered. Right. So that way, my data has been saved somewhere. That's it. The data has been saved somewhere. Okay. And of course, I can go into, okay, so I think they have, oh yeah, the settings. Wow. Okay, so I have my information here. Well, this is not the best thing. But yeah, I can see my information are here. And is this a pass? Okay, it's just the phone number. The phone number. But then if I try to update my info here, so I take away that Elijah, then I click update. Oh yeah, and I get updated. So I think if I refresh, let me reload the page now. Check that settings again. Okay, that's finished. It's finished reloading. Oh yeah, so it's persisting. Now I see my name has been updated, and after refreshing the page, it stays updated. So that's pretty much um well, it's JavaScript and of course Node.js. I don't know the type of language you use in designing the backend, but it's actually a backend stuff going on here. Creating an account and being able to update the account. So that's basically backend. There's a database somewhere that these things are being saved inside of. Okay. So okay, let me visit somewhere. Let me try to order something. So you can see we have some interactivity going on here. So okay, try to add this to my basket, and now I can see I have something added to my basket. All these things are being powered by JavaScript, right? Which is the language that we're going to be using. Also, not just in front end, but also in back end. So they use JavaScript in front end. So JavaScript has stretched more than just being a front end language or being used in the front end. Now it's now available on the back end. All right. So yeah, let me just let me close this. Okay, so they said JavaScript is a scripting or program or interactions to web pages. Yes, we just witnessed that just now. So what are the use cases? So JavaScript can be used in different ways. It all depends on what you're building, of course. So if it's maybe a front, maybe you're building something on the front end, of course, you know you can use JavaScript on the front end. You can even use some libraries that comes with it. You can use maybe jQuery. You can use React. You can use what's it called? Vue.js, Angular, depending on what you want to build. All right. So JavaScript can be used to create functionalities to an HTML document. Okay, so this is just basically talking about how you can use it on the front end. Okay, so we have variables here. Of course, every language, in fact, all languages have their own variables. They have their variables, they have their data types, right? So this talking about variables first. Let me skip to data types. Okay, so in JavaScript, of course, we have in all languages. I won't say just JavaScript. So we have data types, but data types in JavaScript is actually different. It's different from the way, well, in JavaScript, I think we have about maybe 7. Well, it's actually not 7 because we have reference types. So you can also call them data types, right? So we have these 3 more. We have functions, we have objects, we have array, we have undefined, symbol, null, boolean, big int, number, strings. Okay, but then uh, in PHP, you might not find all these things in PHP. Maybe there's no big int in PHP. I don't know. I don't do PHP, but I believe PHP also have, apart from number, PHP might have something called float. Might also, I think it's also a data type in PHP. I don't know. Some programming languages have more than this number of data types. Okay, but in JavaScript, it's just this, strictly this. All right. Okay, so let me open string. So, okay, a string is an alphanumeric characters. Okay, you can start a string by typing double quotes, single quotes, or even can even be advanced. So you can go like become a badass and just use backticks or template literals. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually how you can create a string, right? I don't know if I showed that. Okay, let me demonstrate this a bit. I'm going to open my console here. Okay. Wow, we have a lot here. So let me clear. Of course, we're going to go in depth later on. We're going to go in depth later, but for now, let's see this. Okay. So I think I copied something. Oh yeah. Okay, but in order for you to create a string, talking about a string, so you can just have a variable somewhere called name, and then you can assign it to a value. So talking about data types, of course, we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have number. Okay, let me make my screen bigger so you can see it. Okay, so I think someone said they have a question. Please, if you have a question, please throw them at me. Moses, if you have a question, please come up with it. Please speak up. If you have a question, please unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah. So, Elijah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they can't speak. So I think
they
Moses
are
is dropping it
muted.
on the chat.
Oh, great. Okay,
Yeah.
so well, you can just type them out or maybe speak if you can. Okay, so I got a question that what are the tools to install? Okay, so as a backend developer, if you're going to start working with JavaScript, which is Node.js in this case, you can basically just go to Node.js website, nodejs.org. It's that simple. Just download. Okay, so we're going to go in depth later on, right? But for now, you can check this site out, nodejs.org, and have the necessary stuff installed. So if you want to install or download Node.js, before you can start using Node.js, of course, you have to have it installed. So just click on the latest. So yeah, it has latest and also the current version. But this current version, yeah, isn't fully supported. Of course, if you install this and you don't know how to use Node.js that well, you might encounter some issues using it. And then that's why you see the flag this first one as recommended for most users. All right. This is what you surely want to download. The LTS version, that's the latest or the long-term supported version. Just click it. And then you can save wherever suits you. Right. So after that, well, for me, I have it installed, so I won't be installing it. But then you can just, open it and then go through the wizard is going to walk you through it. And as installation wizard, it's going to walk you through it. All right, and after installing it, yeah. So how to find it in your system. So after installing it in your system, you can basically just search it, Node.js, and then click it. So this is Node.js. And then, of course, you can open your terminal and just in case, maybe if you can't find the app in
Remy,
your system,
we can't see your
you
screen
might just come
anymore.
here to your terminal, which is maybe your command line or your, what's
Remy,
it called?
Elijah, we can't see your
Wow,
screen anymore.
that, that,
You
that is
minimized your
strange.
screen. You minimized your
So I have to
browser.
stop.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
some people dropped some
So I mean,
questions and they were like, what are the ID? What are the tools to use? Why are we downloading these tools? What's the function? So you might want to recap that while you are mentioning the softwares to use on this journey.
okay,
So I think that's the
yeah,
question.
thank you so much. That's good. I've been dying to
So
hear
just
some
explain
questions.
why we are using this software and yeah,
Okay.
thank
Okay, so the reason is working with Node.js, right? Node.js doesn't come with your system, with your operating system. Doesn't come along with it. So you have to download and install it first in order to start using it. As I mentioned earlier, Node.js is the tool that we're going to be using for our backend development. Of course, you can use other languages. You can use PHP, Python, but in this course, we are actually using Node.js. And for you to use Node.js, you have to download it, right? You have to download Node.js. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm meant to recap again. The URL to download Node.js is nodejs.org. Nodejs.org. So I'm going to leave that link later in the chat section that's in the room. So nodejs.org. Then you click on the LTS version. Don't forget LTS version is what you want to download and then install it. So I think the installation wizard is pretty much straightforward. No, I don't think there are complex stuff there. So okay, computer space requirements. Okay, so you can just click next, and then just install it. I have it installed already. So just finish. So that's it. That's it. You want to install Node.js in order to start like writing JavaScript code. Be like in order to start creating your web servers, in order to start building backend APIs. Okay, so after installing it, uh, you might need to check for the version in order for you to confirm that it's installed. If you cannot find the application or the software on your system, just type npm node v node dash v. Yeah, node dash v. So when you type node dash v on your command line or PowerShell, if it gives you the version, like this number here, then you know that it's installed. So node-v is telling you that, yeah, typing node-v, of course, you are requesting for the version of node. So in your own case, well, at the time that you are going to be watching this video, the version might have changed. Maybe tomorrow, if you decide to install it tomorrow, then you might say something like 14.19 or 14.18.2. But my own version here is 14.18.1. So that's it. And also installing Node.js. If you are installing it on a Windows machine, of course you have npm alongside. You're going to have npm alongside it. Or maybe Linux might be a different case. You might need to download. You might need to install that separately. So in order to check for the version of npm also, so you just type npm-v. So if you get a number returned like this, and you know that npm is actually installed also. So npm is a node package manager for you to install packages from npm. So basically, npm is one of the largest, if not the largest, it's one of the largest repository you have like for packages for installing dependencies. So speaking about npm, I think we might need to check that out. I think npm, you can just search that name on the browser. You can search it on Google. You can search it on any of your favorite search engine. So we have npm here. So this is npm. It's actually a repository of packages. So building a backend application, you might get to a point whereby you need to bring in third-party libraries, right? You want to consider npm. So in our own case, we're going to be using several libraries, several packages. So Let me just show you one. So you can basically just search Express, which is a Node.js framework for building APIs. You can also use pure Node.js to build your application or your backend. But well, it's going to be a lot more because you're going to write a lot more codes. But the work of package is to make your work simple. Maybe starting a server in Node.js might require like maybe 50 lines of code. But when you install a package, in a few lines of code, maybe like 3 lines of code, then you
Oh,
start
I'm sorry,
created the server.
your
So
students
packages,
are
you
your
can call them,
students.
you can call libraries. Yeah,
Hello.
please. If you have a
You are your student is saying you are fast, like you are
yeah,
too fast. You should always check the room so you can see if they are dropping questions. You are just moving like you are fast. Thank you.
oh great. I'm so sorry if I'm too fast. Please forgive me. I need to let me pay attention to you guys. Please forgive me. Okay, so let me see if I have any questions to attend to here. Okay. Can you outline the things we should check out in written form? So I'm getting a bit lost. Things we should check out in written form. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to drop a link to this file. What is it? To the first file if you need to like check out some things here yourself. Okay. So, and I also mentioned that I'm going to drop the link to Node.js if you want to download and install it, and also npm too. I'm going to drop a link to it. As a matter of fact, let me drop it here. So, https npmjs.org. So, and also if you want to install Node.js, of course you can press the link. I think I opened it somewhere here before. Okay, so nodejs.org. You can also visit there and download and install it. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, this class is just an introductory class, right? You're going to get fully into code and anything you're expecting, you're going to get full. So in that class, we're going to cover a lot more. And then I can walk you guys through installing these tools if you've not installed it by then. Right? Okay, so yeah, you said you can't speak. Please, if you have any question, I'm going to be checking. I'm going to be checking the channel. The room for any question. So if you have any question, please drop them here. Okay. So for those people saying I'm too fast, please forgive me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, Elijah, can you hear
All
me?
right. So we're going to practice a little JavaScript. Yes, sure, please. I'm hearing like echoes. Sorry. Can you hear me? Oh yeah. Thank you. Please, can you hear me? If you have a question, please let me know. You can as well just type it. Because I can't hear you at the moment, please. Okay, so I'm just going to proceed. If anybody can hear me, please speak up. Yeah, you guys can speak. Moses, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, thank you so much. Said clearly. Yeah. All right. So installing Node.js is all that matters for now. And, okay, so you can just visit the site. I've dropped the link. You guys can visit the site and see how to download it. And if you're on Linux, you can also Google how to install Node.js on Linux. Maybe you want to. Okay.
Yeah, Elijah.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you.
Moses was saying you also have some messages on the I think the team channel. And at the same time, you have some messages on the room. So yeah, you can try to check them out.
It will be okay. So okay, a link on how to install Node.js. I've dropped that earlier. All right. On the breaks. That's my question. Okay. Working with IDs, which of them? Okay, so someone is asking that if they're going to be working with IDs, which of them? Okay, well, we have quite number of them, but for me, I use VS Code, Visual Studio Code. But you can install anyone you like. I think we have brackets, we have Sublime Text, we have WebStorm, we have different IDEs, but I prefer um, VS Code, which is Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to drop some links for you guys. So let's say copy this one. Okay, you can use Visual Studio Code if you like. You can also use Sublime. So let me drop this one here too. Oops. I hope I don't spam the group with all these things I'm pasting here. Okay. So let's check our brackets. Okay, someone said it's seeing something on the window PowerShell. Right, guys. So I'm going to drop some links of the resources that you might need, that you are going to be needing if they are necessary. I'll drop them. Right. So don't panic yet, please. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys a bit of JavaScript, pending the time that we'll like have an official class for it. Okay, so also I'm going to drop a link to this file too. So that makes it 2 now. So this is the introductory file to backend, and also we have an introductory file to JavaScript here. So I'll drop them so that you guys can check them later, get familiarized with it. All right, so yes, things we'll talk about later on. We're going to talk about surely JavaScript. Okay, we're going to talk about data type, talk about string, talk about numbers, talk about big int, Boolean, all the necessary stuff you're going to be needing for this entire Node.js session. Objects, arrays, handling errors, control flows, things like that. We're going to cover them. So I'm very sure you're going to enjoy them because all these things are interesting. As a matter of fact, JavaScript as a whole is really, really interesting. Yes. All right, guys. So Mr. Mav, can I get your attention? Can you hear me? Moses, please let me know if you can hear me. So
Yes, I can hear you.
okay. All right. So I think Mr. Mav might have something to say. So Mr. Mav, please come in. Mr. Marvelous. Okay, so in absence of him, Ella, please, if you're on the stream, please speak up. Okay, great. So there's nobody here on the stream.
I can hear you, Elijah, but your line is breaking. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, likewise yours too. But then it's fine. I can hear you now, please. Okay, so Mr. Mav wanted to say something before. I don't know if he's still available. But in the absence of him, if you have something to say, please go on. You have any question, or maybe there's something you want to add?
Yeah, Elijah, can you hear me? Like, the line is really, really breaking so bad. So I don't know if you just fix it. Couple of seconds. It's really breaking. So I don't know if you want.
Yes, I can hear you, but your line too is
Okay.
breaking here. Sorry, can anyone else hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Elijah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Mr. Mav, I've been waiting for you. I believe you have something to add to this whole things we've been saying. Please go on if you have something to add.
Okay. I actually wanted to talk about the IDE and also Node, but I think you've covered that already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to drop like maybe 3 different IDEs, the link to their website so that they can pick anyone that they like, they prefer.
Yeah, but also I think most of them should follow the tools you use, of course, because they don't have like prior experience. Yeah, so that they can do what you do. I think you understand me.
Yes, I do, sir.
Yeah, so you can just make recommendations. I think that would be the best choice. I see that there are some people that are just starting out with backend development, which means they don't have prior experience in programming generally. So I think it's better if they work with what you use.
Okay, sure thing. I'm going to recommend them to some tools.
Okay.
All right, good. Okay, so please, how long do we still have?
I don't think we'll be able to utilize the whole time. This is just the introductory session.
Yes, sir.
When we start on the call, then we can spend more time. Yeah.
Okay, so well, if there's any question before we wrap up, please, you can drop your question in the room channel so we can answer them before we leave. Please, anybody, if you have any question, drop them in the room channel so that I can answer them. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think they heard that. Okay, so if I'm to add something again,
Yes.
for those of you that might not be able to, remember everything that I've been taught here, the live stream is on YouTube, and of course, after the stream, it will be saved on YouTube, so you can watch as many times as you want. Also, the backend development team here would be coming up with short videos that you can always visit to cover up with the topics on the curriculum. So don't feel that the session might be too fast. Of course, we're trying to make sure we cover up with the time, but at the same time, some videos we created on YouTube and you can always watch, to fill in. You understand? So Elijah, maybe you can also inform them later by dropping a link to some of the video clips that you would create for them on the chat.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll do that, sir. All right. Do we still have maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes for questions? If we do, please do well to drop any question that you have here. And of course, we can answer the questions later on, even if not on the call. Right. Okay. Okay, so guys, that's going to be all for today. I believe we still have a long way to go. So yeah, let's stop here for now. So Mr. Mav, if you have any other thing to add before we end the session, please do. Likewise, Stella.
Nothing from my end. You can just drop a link to that presentation you used on Notion so that they can also go through it. I think that's all. We can end the session already.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being part of this class. I look forward to having more sessions with you. Thank you so much.